Chapter 2. The Shoreline. Stranger. Paisley's body lay limp on the sand. Her once vibrant mermaid form now transformed into something else entirely. The waves lapped at her bare feet, retreating from the shore with the remnants of the storm that had nearly consumed her. The air was cold, heavy with the scent of salt and the distant hum of the city that never seemed to sleep. But in this moment Paisley felt nothing, not the biting wind, not the coarse sand beneath her, not the chill of being soaked to the bone. When she awoke, she was no longer under the sea, no longer surrounded by the familiar comfort of water. Her body felt strange, heavier than it ever had before. She shifted slightly, her eyes fluttering open, and it took her a moment to process what she was seeing. Her long hair, once floating freely around her, was now plastered to her skin, and the smooth scales that had adorned her tail were replaced by legs. 2 human legs. Panic surged through her, the unfamiliar sensation of her new form overwhelming her. She pushed herself up slightly, looking down at her naked body with wide, terrified eyes. Where was she? What had happened to her? How had she become this? She tried to sit up fully, but her limbs felt foreign and weak. Her chest heaved as fear settled in. The only thing she knew was that she wasn't in the ocean anymore. The sound of the waves crashing in the distance was the only reminder of the world she had left behind. A stranger in a strange land. Paisley's mind was racing, her heart pounding in her chest. She tried to crawl back toward the water, desperate for its familiar embrace. If she could just touch the ocean again, maybe she could return to what she was. But before she could reach the shoreline, footsteps echoed on the sand and a figure approached her, blocking her path. "Whoa, easy there!" A voice called out, low and steady but filled with surprise. Paisley froze, her eyes lifting slowly to meet the figure standing over her. The person was tall, dressed in dark, masculine clothing, loose jeans, an oversized hoodie, and sneakers with short, dark hair that was damp from the lingering rain. They wore a sharp, musky cologne, and their expression was one of shock, though there was a softness in their gaze. Paisley tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. She had never seen a human up close before, not like this. Her pulse quickened, and all the warnings her father had given her about humans rushed through her mind. They're dangerous. They're cruel. They took your mother away from you. "Hey, are you okay?" the figure asked, crouching down beside her, their brow furrowing with concern. Paisley scrambled backward, her hands digging into the sand, eyes wide with fear. She was vulnerable, exposed, and the presence of this stranger made her heart race in a way she had never felt before. Whoa, relax, I'm not gonna hurt you." The figure held up their hands, showing they meant no harm. "My name's Jenna Ortega. I found you here. What happened?" Jenna looked around as if expecting to see someone else, but the beach was empty aside from the 2 of them. Paisley's chest heaved with uneven breaths. The name meant nothing to her, and the way this Jenna moved, the way she spoke, it was all so foreign, so different from the elegance and softness of the ocean. She had no idea how to respond, no idea how to act. Seeing her distress, Jenna's expression softened even further. She shrugged off her hoodie, revealing a plain white tank top underneath, and without hesitation she draped the hoodie over Paisley's shivering form. "Here, you must be freezing." Paisley flinched at the contact, her eyes flickering down to the oversized hoodie now covering her body. She didn't understand the gesture, didn't know what to make of this strange human's kindness. All she could think about was how lost she felt, how utterly disconnected she was from everything she had ever known. "I don't know what happened to you, but I can help you, okay?" Jenna continued, her voice gentle but firm. "I live close by. Let me take you somewhere safe." Paisley's instincts told her to run, to flee from this human who stood before her. But her body was too weak, and her mind was too clouded with fear. She had no choice but to trust Jenna, at least for now. The penthouse, Jenna helped Paisley to her feet, though Paisley struggled to stand on her new legs, wobbling as she tried to balance. Every step felt unnatural, her feet sinking into the sand in ways she couldn't comprehend. Jenna was patient, keeping her hand on Paisley's arm to steady her as they walked along the beach towards the city lights in the distance. By the time they reached Jenna's penthouse, Paisley's mind was swimming with confusion. The city of Los Angeles was unlike anything she could have ever imagined. The towering buildings, the blaring car horns, the flashing lights. Everything was so loud, so chaotic. Her senses were overwhelmed by it all. Jenna guided her inside the sleek, modern apartment, closing the door behind them with a soft click. The room was spacious, with large windows overlooking the city, and the decor was minimalist with shades of black, grey, and white. It was cold, lifeless compared to the vibrant world beneath the sea. "Here," Jenna said softly, leading Paisley to the large leather couch. "Sit down, you need to rest." Paisley collapsed onto the couch, her body still shaking from the cold and the shock of everything that had happened. Jenna disappeared for a moment, and when she returned, she had a set of oversized clothes in her hands, a simple t-shirt and sweatpants. "These should fit you," Jenna said, handing them over. "I'll give you some space to change. Bathroom's down the hall." Paisley stared at the clothes, her mind spinning. She didn't know what to do, didn't know how to interact with Jenna or navigate this strange human world. She had been stripped of everything she knew, her identity, her form, her home. And now, she was completely at the mercy of this stranger. A new reality. Jenna turned to leave the room, giving Paisley privacy to change. But Paisley sat frozen on the couch, clutching the clothes in her hands, unsure of what to do next. Her legs, her human legs, ached from the walk, and her mind was too exhausted to make sense of anything. As she sat there alone in the quiet of the penthouse, a tear slipped down her cheek. She didn't belong here. She didn't belong in this world. And yet she had no way of returning to the sea, no way of going back to the life she had known. Her mother's face flashed in her mind, the one person who might have understood her, who might have been able to guide her through this terrifying new reality. But her mother was gone, taken by the humans, just as Paisley had been. A soft knock on the door pulled Paisley from her thoughts. Jenna's voice came through, gentle and concerned. "You okay in there? Do you need help?" Paisley didn't respond. She wasn't okay. She wasn't even sure who she was anymore.